So the main currency in Diamond Dynasty in MLB The Show 25 is called Stubs, and obviously you can see I have a lot of stubs in the top left corner right now, and it's been 13 hours since the game has been released. But regardless, stubs are actually not that difficult to get in the game, but it can be difficult for people to strategize when they're just getting introduced to MLB The Show. So today I'm going to be telling you guys the best and the quickest ways to get stubs. Before we get started, I just want to mention that I'm doing an MLB The Show 25 giveaway on my Twitter. You have to do it on my Twitter, or else you won't be entered. Just follow all the directions and you might win a free copy. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is something that isn't actually going to happen for a little bit, and it's called roster updates. So if we go to roster updates here, obviously there's going to be nothing there. But let's go to the market and let's go to a live series card. I'm just going to go to my Yankees because they're my favorite team and it's right there. So let's go to live series. Let's take a look at, let's go with Luke Weaver. So, just looking at this Luke Weaver card, he's a 79 overall. He's so expensive for a 79 overall, but it is release date. But regardless, he is a silver. He is the highest overall you can have for a silver. Now, with live series, and this is probably my favorite thing about MLB The Show that makes it unique, compared to Madden Ultimate Team, 2K, My Team, and all the other modes, FIFA, NHL, is the live series cards will change in overall with the roster updates. In other games, they do roster updates, but the actual cards in the games, they don't change. In MLB The Show, they change. So this is the best way to make stubs and probably the most efficient because you don't even play the game. You just buy cards that are doing well and you have to strategize it, and I'll do tons of videos. There's some of my favorite videos to make. Tons of videos on who should you invest in, who to look out for, don't do this, don't do that throughout the year. But basically, let's say Luke Weaver is striking out people at an insane rate, at a historic rate in the month of April. He has a nice K per 9 rating, but it's pretty low. So what SDS would do is they would go into Luke Weaver's card in the attribute update and increase it a lot, which means that his overall would go up, which means his value would go up. You see where I'm going here? So basically, you're going to want to look at players that are doing well in real life, but not just doing well in attributes where they have a lot of room to grow. Because a guy like Luke Weaver, he's already in the 90s in hits per 9, so if he's not giving up a lot of hits, probably not going to make him go up that much. But I'll go more in depth into this when I actually do roster updates. But long story short, I'm going to be recommending so many investments and a lot of strategy, but just overall, roster updates is probably the best way to make stubs. Now, this next one isn't necessarily too specific. This is just something that I like to mention. I like, you can just make smart investments based on how the game works and, based on content. So an example of this is this pre-order pack, right? The 20th anniversary diamond pack. These guys are dirt cheap because everybody, at least everybody who's in the game now in the pre-order for the early access, had to have chosen one of these guys, and they could have sold it or kept it. So the quantity is really high, right? So these guys are pretty cheap. Now, that's the only place you can get these cards in the game besides the marketplace. So as time moves on, assuming they don't release the pack anywhere else, which they probably will eventually, but it'll take a while, these cards are only going to be accessible on the market. And what that does is that drives the price up, because the way that prices stay down is people keep getting more of the card. When nobody's getting more of the card, these prices are going to go up. So this is sort of like a smart investment based on content. This is just an example. There are many other different ways you can do this with, future content. If you need to use, let's say there's a program that's going to come out and it's a Mets program, and you might want to invest in Mets players because you might have to use them to get missions. Just stuff like that is, very overlooked, but super simple that you can do and just make so many stubs. Now, this next strategy is probably the most, I don't want to say efficient, but it's what a lot of people do and no money spent especially. This is called flipping. So basically, if you know anything about finance or like a day trader, that's basically what flipping is. So what you do is, let's say this Paul Goldschmidt for an example. Let's say I put in a buy order. Also, don't ever buy now or sell now. Always put in orders. Basically what it is for new players is If you can buy them instantly at 700 and you can sell them instantly at 416 by just pressing the button. But if you create a buy order for 417, I'm not actually going to do it here because I don't want to buy this card, and you press finalize order, you'll lose the stubs, but you can cancel the order whenever you want and you'll get the stubs back. And you have to wait until someone physically sells the card to you, but it saves so many stubs. But regardless, back to flipping. What flipping is, like I said, it's kind of like day trading. So you look at pretty much any card that has a big gap between their sell order and their buy order, or like a big margin is what I call it. So let's say you put a buy order in for Paul Goldschmidt, even if you don't want this card, 421 stubs, you put a buy order in for him. Let's say he goes through, right? So you spend 421 stubs. Now you're going to immediately create a sell order right when you get the card for 699. Now, taking into effect that there's 10% tax rate on every card you sell, which I've always found to be super stupid. It's not like there's a government that needs this money. But yeah, you bought the card for 421 stubs, and now you're going to sell it, and you're going to receive 629 stubs. Literally, by just buying it and immediately selling it, you're making a little less than 200 stubs by doing nothing. You're not even playing the game. You're literally just sitting there putting in a sell order after you bought it. That's called flipping, where there are people who just do this for hours upon hours and don't even play the game for a while. They just flip nonstop and they just make so many stubs by just doing this. I personally don't really like flipping. I find it really boring. I've done it in the past, but I won't ever like sit down for hours and flip cards. I prefer just playing the game and earning stubs naturally by playing the game, but this is a very good way to make stubs. Now we're going to briefly go over the online modes. This is more so for good players and not newer players. Ranked seasons, this is obviously the sweatiest mode in the game. It's your best players, your best team in full 9-inning games. Basically, this is a good way to make stubs if you're good at the game, because you make World Series, you get these cards and you can sell them. Like, you know, obviously nobody has them yet, but this is a good way to make stubs. It's kind of the same thing for BR. We can go into Battle Royale. You know, if you're really good at the game and you can go flawless, not the program. If you can go flawless, which is 10-0, you know, the rewards are this Lance Berkman and this Rich Gossage. These cards are going to be really rare because people, you know, it's difficult to go. I almost said 12-0. It's difficult to go 10-0, so these cards are going to be super expensive, and you can just sell them for a lot of stubs. You can also, you know, get 2 diamond players on your way, even if you don't get flawless. Now, events is a little tricky this year. I hate that tutorial. Events is a little tricky this year because there are no longer exclusive rewards in events, so you're never going to be playing events for event-specific rewards like you have in the past. And that is something that I've done a lot to make stubs. I just bang out the event really quick and I sell the card. It's kind of the same with the multiplayer program, but it's basically like having an event reward system, but ranked and BR qualifies. So it's kind of, I don't really see myself playing a lot of events unless I'm just tired of ranked or BR and I just want to like warm up when I go into ranked or BR. But regardless, you can play events. Events is probably the most casual online mode because, you know, BR is also on All-Star, but events is also on All-Star. So if you're not as good at the game, this is probably the best way to make stubs through online play. You know, you get these cards, you get all these rewards, and you sell them. But ranked and BR will definitely make you more stubs. I almost forgot to mention the Weekend League that is brand new to MLB The Show. I'm so excited for this. I can't wait. This isn't for 4 weeks, but I just want to put this on your radar. You know, regardless of how good you are at the game and how far you make it in a ranked, these are some great rewards. Let's say you are not good at the game and you're in Silver 2. You can still get great rewards. I mean, 1 win will get you a 15 bundle, 7,000 stubs, and then 7 ball-ins for 2. If you go 2-4 in your first 6 games in Weekend League in this division, you make 11K, 7 ball-in packs, and 15 show packs. Like, this is a farm for loot. This is literally a loot farm for me. I'm going to try to get to 900 and play these games. But regardless, like, no matter what division you're in, it's basically just free loot. So now that the XP rewards are back to being sellable on the market, this brings up a great method, which was kind of non-existent last year, but I think it'll return to this year. It's what I call the speed method. So basically what that is you just try to get rewards that come out new, like they're new rewards to the game. You try to get them as soon as possible and you instantly sell them. And then at the end of the program, you buy them back. So that's basically what I do, what I'm going to do for all these inning programs, and what I did back in 21 and 20, or I don't know, they didn't have them in 21 and 20 and 19, for those of you who played all the way back then. But regardless, let's look at this boss pack for an example. You know, the boss is at 320,000 XP. You have 3 bosses. These are all sellable. Nobody has them yet, of course, but let's say I get this guy on Monday. There aren't going to be many people with these cards, so these guys are going to be really high in price. I'm going to sell it, and then by the end of the program in 4 weeks, these guys are going to be dirt cheap because everybody's going to have them. So the speed method is basically just speed running like a new piece of content, instantly selling it, and then at the end of the program, you buy them back. That's pretty much it. I mean, you get the cards, you know, regardless, because you're going to buy them back later for like a quarter of the price. It's just free Stubs by doing nothing. One thing I do want to mention, the speed method isn't just for XP or Warpath. You can do it in other things like ranked, especially in ranked and BR, if you're good at the game. You know, not too sure about anything else, but it's a great way to, you know, take advantage of, you know, your efficiency and when you're grinding out new content. So one last thing that I want to mention and I want to reiterate is Stubs come really naturally in this game and really fast. It might seem like that's not true like in the beginning of the year, but it really is, because you're getting packs and you're getting, even when you don't get Stubs specifically, and you get packs by beating conquest maps and all these other things. When you get everything in the game, it all translates to Stubs, because you get players from packs that you sell, and then you get Stubs. But ultimately, Stubs come really fast. It might not seem like it, but it's really the truth. And so you just got to be patient with it. And one more thing too, don't buy packs. Literally don't buy packs. It's literally just gambling. It's like going to a casino and gambling, which, you know, for some people it might be fun, but when you're trying to be no money spent like me, and you have to fight and claw for every stub, you shouldn't be buying packs at all. It's just never worth it. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. If you're new here, follow me on all my social medias, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Most importantly, make sure you subscribe right here on YouTube. So yeah, see you guys in the next one. Peace.